Hello, dear students. Welcome back to another session of Learning Literature. Today we are going to talk about Robert Frost's poem Dust of Snow. It's a short poem, but it has deeper significance. But before we read the text and understand it, let's talk about the author as we always do. Robert Lee Frost was an American poet. His work was initially published in England before it was published in America. He is highly regarded for his realistic depictions of rural life and his command of American colloquial speech. Frost was honored frequently during his lifetime, receiving 4 Pulitzer Prizes for poetry. He became one of America's real public literary figures, almost an artistic institution. He was awarded the Congressional Gold Medal in 1960 for his poetical works. The poem Dust of Snow by Robert Frost is a simple and short poem, yet with a deeper and larger meaning. The poet explains how an act as petty as experiencing snow on one's body can brighten one's day up. The message of the poem is put into words by Robert Frost. I quote, always a larger significance. A little thing touches a larger thing. Unquote. Now, let's have a look at the text. Dust of snow. The way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. So let's have a look at the rhyme scheme. So you all can see the last word of the first line is rhyming with the last word of the third line, and the last word of the second line is rhyming with the last word of the fourth line. So the rhyme scheme is A, B, A, B. The same happens in the second stanza also. So it's C, D, C, D. Because here also the first word of the last line is rhyming with the last word of the third line. The poem is set in a scene where the poet is in a bad mood and is walking by a tree, a hemlock tree. Hemlock tree is a poisonous tree. As he passes by, a crow happens to throw some snow dust on him. Whether it falls on his head or shoulders is unknown, as there is no specific mention in the poem. Also, the readers are left in doubt about the bird's specific action. Whether the crow was landing, shivering with cold, readjusting itself on the branch, or taking off. It happened to send some particles of snow upon the author. So here, if you see the two agents of nature, the first one is the hemlock tree and the second one is the crow. They are signifiers of sadness and gloom, just like the poet's mood was in the opening scene. So as we all know that Robert Frost is the poet of nature, so yes, in this poem also he has included the agents of nature. But we need to understand how he has depicted these agents of nature in this poem, Dust of Snow. For reasons unknown, the author was having a terrible day. But the falling of the snow on his head lifted his mood instantly. He had already spent his day in a bad mood, but the rest of it was saved by the crow and the hemlock tree. Generally, hemlock tree and crow are used for negative references. They are considered inauspicious, but the poet has used them beautifully to portray that inauspicious things can bring joy and happiness too. So whatever is part and parcel of nature cannot be inauspicious. One must not take things for granted and should be open and accept whichever way the nature chooses to bless us. So we should remove all the negativity that we have in our mind. And until and unless we do that, we remain troubled. Because these things make us upset. Right? So we need to come out of that. We need to be broad-minded and we need to look at the things in a positive manner. That's very important. Now, let's have a look at the literary devices used in the poem. Rhyme scheme, which I already discussed with you. It's A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D. Then we also find alliteration here. It means the occurrence of the same letter or sound at the beginning of adjacent or closely connected words. And the examples of alliteration from this poem are has given my heart and saved some part. So in the first line you all can see repetition of H word and in the second S word. Then we also find example of assonance in the poem, which means the prominence of a vowel sound throughout a line is called assonance. In stanza 1, line 2, shook down on me. So here you all can see O sound is prominent. So this is an example of assonance. Then we also find an example of enjambment. It means when the same sentence continues to the next line without the use of any punctuation mark, it is enjambment. It has been used throughout the poem. So I hope the poetic devices used in the poem are clear to everyone. Now, let's have a look at the message. The message of the poem is quite clear. The poem Dust of Snow tells us about the curative power of nature. Nature has the cure for everything, whether it is a bad mood or illness. The poet is going through one such bad day when a crow suddenly shook down on him dust of snow from a hemlock tree. The snow instantly makes him happier. So that is the healing power of nature. So be amidst nature whenever you are upset and feel the magic. I'm sure you all will feel relaxed and you would be able to come out of the conflicts you are in. If you look at the theme of this particular poem, so the major themes that run through this poem are communication between nature and humans, nature healing and helping with negative human emotions. We have certain negative emotions, so how nature helps in healing, right? How we can overcome all those emotions, and also the significance of small natural events. So we cannot avoid anything. You never know what is there to help you and how you come out of that particular thing you are in, or I'm in the situation. So that was all about the poem Dust of Snow by Robert Frost. I hope the meaning is quite clear to everyone. I mean the superficial and the hidden meaning, which is very important to understand. So thank you so much for watching. Take good care of yourself.